The guns are silent now. The soldiers gone. 150 years ago, our nation was in the midst of our Civil War. From April 1861 to April 1865, over 2 million American soldiers took up arms against each other, culminating in the deaths of almost 700,000 men. Allegany County had about 3,700 men in the war, and of these, 400 were killed. This from our then population of 30,000 people. Our intention today is not to glorify war or warfare, but rather honor the men and women who answered their respective country's call. This legacy, this call to duty has given us is the America we know and love today. More than American servicemen of any other war, Civil War troops were singing soldiers. Next to letter writing, music was the most popular diversion in the Army. Men left for war with a song on their lips. They sang while marching or waiting behind breastworks. They hummed melodies moving into battle, and music swelled from every nighttime bivouac. This is the major reason why the Civil War sparked more new songs than any other event in American history. The first Civil War song appeared 3 days after the firing on Fort Sumter that started the war. 4 years later, over 2,000 melodies have been added to the national heritage and to denominational hymn books. The truly popular tunes in camp were not stirring, inspirational marching songs. The soldiers' favorites were songs of the heart, soul, and home, such as Just Before the Battle, Mother, Tempting Tonight, and the ever-popular Home Sweet Home. No one can dispute that the primary cause of our Civil War was the issue of slavery in our southern states. In the early 1800s, campaigns started in the North to eliminate slavery, which had become entrenched as an integral element of Southern economic culture. At the encouragement of a few Northerners, a handful of slaves escaped to freedom in the North. During the 1840s, more slaves fled the South seeking freedom. This was an economic loss to the South, and legal efforts were taken by Southern states to recover their property. This resulted in the Compromise of 1850, also called the Fugitive Slave Act. This law now made it illegal for Northerners to help slaves escape into Canada. The law further dictated that anyone seeing a neighbor harboring a runaway slave had to report this to their sheriff, who had to arrest his neighbors. The law also mandated that the slave be returned to the South, thus perpetuating the peculiar institution of slavery. Efforts to help runaway slaves continued, and this now illegal activity became the Underground Railroad. The operators of the Underground Railroad used many creative methods to achieve their goals. Many, such as Harriet Tubman, worked the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad was neither underground nor a railroad, but a system of people, both black and white, who risked their safety and lives to help slaves escape to freedom in Canada. Peg-Leg Joe was a carpenter who secretly worked for the Underground Railroad in the South. He would go to work alongside the slaves on the plantations. While he was there, he would teach them a song. The song was actually a secret code. Slave owners did not know it, but Joe was teaching them a route to freedom. Slaves did not drink out of fancy metal dippers like their owners did. They would use a hollowed-out gourd to drink their water. So they had a different name for the constellations up in the sky. What we call the Big Dipper, they called the drinking gourd. Peg-Leg Joe's song taught them the two stars at the end of the bowl in the Big Dipper pointed to Polaris, the North Star. And slaves knew that following the North Star would lead them in the direction of freedom. Simply knowing to head north, however, was not enough to ensure freedom and safety for slaves. Peg-Leg Joe's song gave them a specific route to follow, one where they'd be sure to meet conductors of the Underground Railroad who would help them along their way. Follow the Drinking Gourd gives a coded route from Mississippi or Alabama to Today, the song gives us only the only existing record of an exact route used by the slaves escaping on the Underground Railroad. The first verse tells the slaves to leave the late winter when the altitude of the sun is higher and the migrating quail return. Leaving in winter was helpful because many slaves had to cross the Ohio River in order to make it north. In winter, the river was frozen, easier to cross. It actually took most slaves a full year to get to the Ohio River, so they would leave one winter and cross the river the next. The next verse taught slaves to follow the bank of the Tombigbee River north. Because there were a number of rivers that ran north to south, abolitionists would mark drawings of a left foot and peg leg on dead trees along the correct path. The third verse taught the slaves that when they reached the end of the Tombigbee River, they should continue north over the hills until they saw another river, the Genesee. The final verse told the slaves that the Tennessee River joined another river. This was the Ohio River, which they were to cross. On the north bank, they would need a guide for the Underground Railroad. This picture shows the Freedom Stairway, which led from the Ohio River to a safe house owned by John Rankin, a Presbyterian minister and educator who devoted much of his life to the anti-slavery movement. He is credited with helping 2,000 slaves to escape. It has been said that a light was placed in the window of the house to indicate this was safe for slaves to approach. Crossing into the northern states was a great milestone for escaped slaves. But their journey was not over until they actually made it to Canada. Once in Canada, however, they knew they were truly free, for they had followed the drinking gourd.
For the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. When the sun comes back and the first quail calls, follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd.
The river bank makes a very good road. Dead trees will show you the way. Left foot, peg foot, carrying on. Follow the drinking gourd.
Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd. Well, the river it ends between two hills. Follow the drinking gourd. There's another river over on the other side. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd.
When the great big river meets the little river, follow the drinking gourd. For the old man is waiting for to carry you to freedom if you follow the drinking gourd.